Oh, this thing's 5 years old now. Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to my 5-year anniversary video for, for Zanza. My most popular video. So, what I'm gonna do here is basically just watch through it, listen through it, and critique everything that I did wrong, probably. So, yeah, let's get into it. Alright, right off the bat we have a problem. I feel like the intro is too simple and honestly a bit boring, if I'm gonna be honest. And I feel like part of that comes from me wanting to stick to Zanza the Divine as closely as possible. Which, I mean, I feel like I did a decent job with this, but considering that Zanza the Divine and Megalovania are two completely different songs, I feel like trying to stick to Zanza the Divine so closely was kind of a detriment to this. But I mean, that's just me. So I am very critical of my work. So yeah. Anyway, let's Okay, another thing that I noticed. First off, the bass is ungodly strong. Which, I mean, the original Megalovania has pretty strong bass, to be fair, but like I feel like it's a bit too strong here. And the guitar that I chose is the distortion guitar in the Toho sound font. I don't really like the kind of guitar that I chose now, but I feel like that mostly comes down to lack of options. Because at the time, that was the best sounding guitar thing that I had access to. And honestly, it is still one of the better options I have now for at least like a backing guitar. But yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, one more thing about this section. The drums. I used the power drums also in the Toho sound font, and honestly, not a bad drum set. Not a bad drum set. I still actually really like how it sounds. But if I were to do this now, I would probably use a better drum set that I have access to, like one of the drum sets in Labs, which is, if you don't know, it's a VST that is completely free, that you can get through Spitfire Audio. It has a ton of amazing quality instruments, and I think that one of the drum sets was actually used in the original Megalovania, I think. Or at least it sounds very similar. So if I were to redo this now, I would probably do that. I would probably use that specific drum set instead of the power drums in the Toho sound font. But yeah, anyway. Enough dwelling on this section. Let's critique the next section. The square wave I used for this is unbearably boring, and that was honestly just down to lack of skill. And and the fact that I had no decent way to give it a vibrato effect. If I were to do this now, then I would have used the C700 VST. It is it's a VST that emulates the Super Nintendo sound chip, and it has a built-in vibrato feature, and it sounds amazing, and it's so much better than the native vibrato plugin or effect or whatever that LMMS has, which is the program that I used to make this. And I also would have put some like pitch bends and stuff like that in between notes as well, just to give it a little bit of an extra flair. God, we're barely a half minute into the song, and according to OBS, I've already been recording for over 6 minutes. This is probably gonna take a while. But yeah, those are my main complaints about what I did with the square wave here. Is lack of vibrato and like just I know I said this about the intro, but it sounds boring, and it's a bit too basic for me now. So yeah, let's move on. Another thing I just noticed, I don't think I adjusted the panning on any of I don't think I adjusted the panning on any of the instruments in this, so everything is just in the center. There's so many things I would have done differently. Anyway, I also would have changed the way that the violins in the background sound, because the way I did it is highly inaccurate to what the original song is like. So yeah, I would have tried to make the strings in the background more accurate to the original Zanza the Divine, instead of what I did here. So, yeah, let's move on. Okay, this section I actually Sorry, excuse me. This part I actually do still really like. I'm not really sure why, but it's probably my favorite section out of the entire song. I'm terrible at explaining things. Sorry, let's just move on. I do like what I did with the square waves there. I didn't just have it be like the same kind of harmonizing pattern that I normally do. I know absolutely nothing about music theory, so the harmonizing that I did with the square wave in this is I just always had the notes like 4 semitones apart. I think no. Oh my god, I'm making myself sound like a total idiot. I am very sorry. Here, actually. Give me a moment. Behold, the original project file! As you can see, none of these are labeled in the instrument that I should have labeled them as. But, to explain what I was talking about with how I did the harmonizing and shit, okay, here we go. Yeah, this is what I was meaning. I left 4 notes in between, all of these, so that, yeah, it just... Yeah, that's the point I was trying to get across. So, yeah. Anyway, back to this. Okay. I don't think the Mega Man X guitar solo that I did here is bad, but I do feel like I could have done it a lot better. And honestly, that just comes down to the same case. It's basically the same problem that I had with the square wave back at the beginning of the song. Is there's no vibrato, there's no pitch bending or anything like that, and I feel like I could have made it deviate more from sounding like, or at least trying to sound like, one of the parts in Zanza the Divine. I feel like it could have been more its own thing. So yeah, if I ever end up redoing this at some point, I will probably do something like that. I'll probably just make the guitar solo be more of its own thing, instead of trying to sound more like something that would be in Zanza the Divine, if that makes any sense. Anyway, let's move on. I also would have made the second half of the, or I guess the second loop of the guitar solo its own thing as well, instead of, you know, being a loop. Alright. And that is Zanza. Overall, sorry. I think I did an okay job with it, but I also feel like I could have done a lot better. So I may release a an improved version of it in the future if I feel up to it, because my motivation as of late has been non-existent. But, yeah. 5 years later, over 92,000 views later, and here we are. Yeah, also you get to see what my recommendations are like. Thank you all for getting this video this freaking far. I know a lot of YouTubers say this, and it's kind of cliche at this point, but I honestly never thought this video would get this far. Because, like, when I first uploaded this, I thought it would, like, peak at like 80 views at the most, and then just fade away, never to be seen again. But, yeah, no. Y'all surprised me. Y'all really surprised me. So, thank you, sincerely. But yeah, that's about all I really... Oh my gosh, I'm terrible at talking. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I don't think there's anything I really have left to talk about this. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching. Happy 5th anniversary to this video right here. And, I hope to see you all in the next video. So take care, and stay safe.